welcome to a new episode of Your Life is Yours. My name is Friederike Peters, and today I have a very special interview guest, Miia Kuronen. She is joining us from Tenerife, right?
Yeah.
And Miia is a shadow worker and a raw food and detoxification specialist. And I invited Miia because I would love to speak to her a little bit about courage and the choices she's taken in life that brought her to where she is now, where she's sitting with this lovely postcard background to meet us. Welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
So let's just jump right in. We've known each other for, I don't know, 1.5 or 2 years. And I think when I met you, you were already fully raw vegan. And you already had quite a lot of knowledge about raw foods and detoxification and all that. But it wasn't always like that. You had some events in your life that brought you there. And yeah, I wanted to ask if you could share a little bit of what happened.
Yeah, sure. So I've been eating raw for almost 3 years now, predominantly raw. I didn't go raw because it was a trend or just to like raise my vibrations or something. I was feeling really ill at the time. I had massive skin issues, and I was also starting to have other symptoms. I wouldn't be able to sleep because I would get these crazy heart palpitations and just like something that seemed like thyroid issues. So I would like get hot and cold flashes and diarrhea and just fogginess in my head, and I felt very ill. But I was already very much into the alternative medicine, and I kind of knew that going with the allopathic medicine would not help me. They would just diagnose me with something and give me pills. So I was searching what I could do. I didn't really know who to turn to because I didn't have any role models with this. So yeah, I turned to YouTube and I found a lot of people who have healed all kinds of things with the raw food diet. Things like multiple sclerosis and cancer. And I was like, whoa, okay, if these people can heal illnesses that, they have been like given a death sentence, basically, I can definitely heal my skin issues with this. And
what kind of skin issues did you have? Because now, like, you're radiant, beautiful, your skin looks perfect. So like, it's hard to imagine, what was going on.
So I've had skin issues since I was a child. They call it like atopic skin. I guess it's in English, atypical skin maybe. It's kind of like a dermatitis where you get like rash all over. It's itchy sometimes. My neck was so bad that I couldn't really move my neck sometimes because it hurt so much. But at that time, it just kind of spiraled out of control, and like at the worst point, my face was all covered and it was red and swollen.
Wow.
And just like oozing liquid through the skin. Wow. Because it was so inflamed. And I had to go to the hospital because I needed a sick note. I was working at the time in a full-time job, and so I went to the doctor and they sent me to the hospital. And at the hospital they told me, this is really serious, you have to stay here, and we're gonna put you on intravenous antibiotics and keep you here for 5 days. I was just like, I don't know, I'm not gonna do that. So yeah, I walked out of there and basically started my own research.
Yeah, but this is interesting because, okay, you were already into the alternative medicine, but when you are at the hospital, I don't know, like, where were you at the time? Were you
in Berlin?
In Berlin? Because I think here it's like you have to sign a bunch of papers to release the doctors of their responsibility or whatever, which, for a lot of people that would be like, oh my God, I could really get myself into some serious trouble.
Yeah.
Was it just easy for you to take that decision, or did you have any doubts of, oh, what if they're right, what if I don't find the solution to this?
There definitely was fear because I didn't know what was happening to me. I didn't know what to do with myself. But the decision itself, it was not difficult because I already knew that antibiotics are not good for the body, that they destroy your gut. And just like being there, the environment felt so, I don't know, like just apathetic. And I thought, okay, just being here will make me more sick, just the environment. And I imagine I was eating very healthy already back then. And I was imagining like, the kind of food they would give me. And I was just like, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
But what helped me a lot actually was that I then found a homeopath. She didn't guide me on the right path exactly, but she gave me some natural medicine, which gave me enough courage to like that, okay, something is like someone's helping me.
Yeah.
And it felt like support.
Yeah. Did you have any other support? Like, what about your friends and family? Did they know about the situation and also the decision that you made?
It was quite challenging, to be honest, because at work, my colleagues and my boss were telling me like, you're taking the antibiotics, right? And I would just, to be honest, I lied to them. I told them, yeah, I'm taking the antibiotics because I didn't want to have that pressure on top of being alone with this. So I literally didn't have anyone to turn to. I didn't even know any vegans back then, almost. Or like I knew some vegans actually, but definitely not raw vegans.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult, because when you go raw overnight like I did back then, out of fear, that's the only reason why I was able to do it, because I was afraid like what was happening to me. You get a lot of detox symptoms and you go through a healing crisis, and it doesn't look always pretty. So people on the outside who don't understand what's happening, they may get freaked out and they will, think that, I don't know, like now you have anorexia or something, or like you're gone nuts.
Yeah, so detox symptoms in terms of like losing weight, or even I heard that some people even sometimes lose hair. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely did. Yeah, I didn't look very healthy back then. So like if you imagine that the average person hears that, oh, you're eating raw vegan, and then you look like that, of course the reaction is going to be like, like, that's crazy, why are you
That's super
doing
unhealthy.
this?
Yeah.
It's not healthy. But
Yeah.
the thing is just a lack of understanding of what is happening actually in the body. So
what was interesting to me, what you just said, is you went raw overnight out of fear. So
yes.
fear was a driving force, but then you went towards something where, like, what made you so sure that that's the solution? Like the fact that you saw that people healed from other things, because some people, they would act out of fear, but then they would go towards antibiotics or maybe some sort of other specialist, but you went into something that is another, like, complete unknown in a way, for you or for most people, right?
I think it had a lot to do with the inner knowingness. Like I was able to connect to my intuition, and it was very strongly saying no towards antibiotics or hospital or whatever. And my intuition was telling me that there has to be a natural way. And it just made sense. The more I researched it, it just made more and more sense. And I started understanding, like, it's not just like, oh, you eat this way and boom, you're healthy somehow miraculously. I started understanding how the body works, and it made sense. And I said to myself, I'm going to try this because my intuition says yes.
Yeah.
So like the fear was the motivator to kind of to be able to do it, I would say. Not necessarily to choose raw food, but the fact that I was able to stick with it and not fall back to cooked food. That was, that determination was driven by the fear.
And the fear was you were afraid of it getting worse, or you were afraid of having to go to the hospital, or
Both. Yeah.
both? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a lot of respect for this path, because I know that for myself and for a lot of people, now I'm going into a little bit the emotional direction. Belonging is, I mean, it's our essence in a way, right? It's one of the most basic, crucial needs that we have. And I personally feel like I've been vegan for 5.5 years now, and now it's a lot more mainstream. But I've always personally, even also with my spiritual development, felt like whenever there was the next step, afraid of losing belonging. Like, oh my God, now I am different again. And I just worked so hard for this belonging, right? So
Totally.
so I found this very courageous. And I think that a lot of people actually do have that inner voice, like no matter if they are sick now and they want to become healthy, or whatever lifestyle change they want to make, where do you think lies the root of this courage, or where did you take this from, or are still taking it from, to actually take those steps?
I think back then it was the realization that I already don't have belonging. So somehow it was admitting to myself that I don't belong to this workplace. I don't feel connected to the people here. I knew my partner already back then, and I felt connected to him, and he fully embraced the whole raw thing. So that kind of signaled to me that, okay, the people who don't understand me, I don't feel connected to them at all, but there is somebody who embraces this new lifestyle that I'm going into, and that I do feel more belonging to. So I think that somehow helped. I was already feeling quite like a loner in Berlin in some ways.
That's very profound. Do you think that, or let's say that what I was just thinking is that, yeah, we don't do something because we're afraid of losing connection, what kind of connection is that if we're losing people because we're going for something that we desire?
Absolutely, yeah. Like when we become more true to ourselves, more in alignment with our essence, we lose people. But I mean, it's scary. Of course, it's scary because we don't have the proof that on the other side, somebody will receive you and you will belong with someone else.
Yeah.
But there will be those people who you find belonging with. Like, we don't have that proof. So, of course, it's scary.
Exactly, yeah. And can you give us a little fast forward to now, maybe a little bit of some of the changes that you went through health-wise, and also maybe like what in terms of your living situation?
Yeah, so wow. So I was detoxing for like a half a year, quite intensely actually. I had a massive congestion in my body that I wasn't aware of, because I had been a big milk drinker all my life. And so like I kept detoxing through my skin as well. It got much better over time, slowly. But I would still have, issues with my hands especially. And I would just start, like, I remember like half a year into the raw diet, I started feeling like, oh my God, like I can't sleep if I drink coffee. I'm in this constant, like, I don't know, like nervous tension mode. And I realized, wow, I don't actually need coffee anymore. I have a constant high energy levels. Like I'm awake, like, and I was still in the office, and it was so interesting to see my colleagues. They would come from lunch and they needed to take a nap and then drink like a pot of coffee. And I was just like, okay, let's do this meeting. Like, like, so like it's such a huge difference.
Yeah.
Like you can't compare like the level of awakeness and just like not even energy, it's just like feeling clarity and being awake, not being foggy or so that's a big one. And
how long did it take you to get there where you realized, oh my God, I have this high energy and I don't need coffee and I can sleep and I don't have that fogginess anymore? How long did it take you to get there?
My sleep improved after maybe a month or two. But the coffee thing, I think I had a really big emotional attachment to coffee. That's why I wasn't really looking at it until maybe 6 months into my diet. Then I kind of like had to drop it because I was getting physical symptoms from it. Yeah. And back then I was good friends with my current partner, and it was interesting. The more I went, like owned, like, oh, this is me now, I'm eating this way, I started attracting people into my life who were totally cool with it, who didn't even question, who were inspired by it, were like, wow, you're eating this way, this is so cool. Instead of being like, you're crazy. Like, yeah, so like it's like I had to first take that step and make that decision. Okay, I'm gonna do this even if I'm gonna lose everybody. And only after that it felt like I started attracting people who resonated with me. And then about a year after I went raw, I started getting closer to Ram. And he introduced me to a lot of the shadow work. I was into spirituality before, but I wasn't really doing actively shadow work. I didn't know what it is. So he introduced me to that like 2 years ago approximately. And we started doing a lot of processes together. We started hosting workshops in Berlin. I moved in with him in the community where he was living. And fast forward more. Yeah, we've been dreaming about living in the warm weather somewhere in a community and leave the city life behind. And we got the chance to visit our friends here in Tenerife who have a farm, and they are starting up a community here. And we vibe with them really well. And we just decided, I don't know, like it was very spontaneous also. We just decided, you know what, let's just stay here. Like we don't want to go back to this lockdown situation anyway in Germany. Like,
if you compare your life from before even that skin issue got so bad to now, what would you say are the, I don't know, 1, 2, 3 biggest changes in your life
that I could attribute to the raw food?
The raw food, or like in general, it doesn't, like whatever you attribute it to, just this is how, wow, like if you were to look back now, you know, and see yourself on a screen from like, I don't know, 3-4 years ago, what would be the 3 main things that stand out where you say, well, this, it's not like that anymore, it's different now?
I think the biggest one that comes to me is connection to myself, where I own who I am rather than trying to fit in somewhere else. And that has been scary, but also it feels really good. It's very rewarding. And the raw food diet has definitely helped with that, in the sense that I can feel myself better when I eat that way. I don't feel glubbed up. I don't feel tired. I can feel my emotions. I can feel my intuition and my inner knowing, and know what direction I need to take. Like when we numb ourselves with food, we can't feel ourselves as well.
Yeah.
So that's maybe number 1.
Oh, there was a gong. What would you say to people who are feeling that itch, that have this little voice that they don't want to hear, but they're still hearing it, you know, something is off, I want to do something else, or maybe even like health wise, what do you think from your experience of your life and also maybe with clients, what is a good place to start? Because sometimes, you know, a life change, if people are not able to do what you did, to go from like 0 to 100, right? It can feel like there's this big mountain and we don't know where
Yeah.
to start.
Yeah, definitely. And I definitely don't recommend people to go raw overnight if they are into that. If they want to transition to raw, I really recommend people to go at their own pace. And the most important thing is look inward and look at the parts of yourself that are in resistance, that don't want to do it, and bring them on board. Because I watch all the time raw foodists, they are able to do it at the expense of, you know, suppressing something else, or, you know, kind of like this, I'm so determined, I'm just going to discipline myself into this. But it's not coming from a place of integration, self-love. I'm choosing this because, I don't know, it's loving for all my parts. So like, I would definitely have a dialogue with the part of you who is attached to your current life. So maybe the current job that you are not actually happy with, but something in you wants that, to understand why. What are you getting out of it? Or the unhealthy foods, whatever it is, you know, to look at why am I attached to this food? What is it giving me? And deal with that emotion behind it. It might be deep feeling of loneliness, and to be able to face that loneliness is then needed for you to be able to actually transition to, or like let go of that coping mechanism.
Yeah, exactly. For those of you who don't understand what we mean when we say look at that part of you, it's kind of like that voice that says, but I cannot stop eating cheese. I love cheese so much, right? I think a lot of people resonate with that voice. It's about asking, okay, what does this give me, right? Like, what is a positive intention behind this? Because there's always more to, I can't live without this. There's always something underneath that this voice, that part, is trying to get. There's always some sort of need that it thinks or it feels it's getting fulfilled through the cheese or whatever, exactly. Watching TV series for 5 hours a day, you know, there's always some kind of hidden positive intention.
Yes. And also a good way to get to the why is to ask what would happen, or what would you feel if you don't eat the cheese? What do you feel when you don't get to eat it? And then you get to the what you are suppressing, or like, if you would quit your job, what would happen? What are you afraid will happen? Because usually these are also usually protectors who keep you doing the same thing over and over again. Even if you consciously say, I don't want to do this, it's usually a sort of a protector personality that we have created.
Something that's just coming to me, and I hope I'm not like opening like another box now, is, you know, it's one thing to find out, you know, maybe the emotional pain that's behind something, but then there's this other thing of perspective of like where you're maybe not 100% sure, you know, just because it's working for this person, is it working for me as well? You know, if I make this lifestyle change, am I actually gonna feel better? Like if I feel okay now, is there actually more in store for me, or am I just making this up? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you think like there is a way how to access this courage perspective, I would almost say, or this like faith?
I think the thing is, nobody can tell you what's the right path, like, because there are hundreds of people telling you a different thing, and you just have to decide somehow. So here the key is really to just connect to your inner knowing and intuition, and have the courage to do what resonates with you. And the raw food thing might not resonate with everybody, and it might actually not be the next step for everybody. You know, what they need right now.
Yeah.
Maybe it's something else. Maybe it doesn't relate to food even, you know. So like, there's really no other way but to get the answer from within, because everybody will tell you a different thing.
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of who convinces you better with, you know, better arguments, or who is better looking. I don't know.
That is so true. Like, that is so true. Basically, follow what your inner guidance system says. It's your next step. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. I feel like we could like speak for a while more. Just quickly, what are things that you offer to people, because you are also offering services? What is it that you do? What can you help people with?
So at the moment, I offer consultation calls for people who are transitioning to raw foods, or are interested in it, or are already on their journey. Also related to detoxification, with helping people get over the hump. So you can find that on my website, in mangoisland.com, mango-island.com. And I also offer parts integration sessions where we look at these different parts that we talked about, who, you know, are stuck in the way of doing things the old way, and find a way to bring them on board, or integrate them, or understand them. And I also offer deep emotional presence, which is not a specific modality. It's simply me sitting with you, being present with whatever happens inside of you.
That's so beautiful. Yeah, for everyone, I also recommend Mia's blog and her newsletter. They're always so well put together and researched, and I love reading them. Also, that you didn't mention that you and your partner, you also do workshops quite often.
Yes.
At the moment online, but usually also in real world settings. So yeah, definitely check that out, everyone. Thank you for watching. Miia, thank you so much for sharing yourself, sharing your story and your wisdom. I hope I can see you again soon in real life.
Me too, really. That would be amazing.
And yeah, guys, if you want to find me, you know, it's Friederike. What's the underline? Anyway, Friederike Spiritual __. Anyway, it's all in the links, friederikepeters.com. And yeah, we wish you a beautiful day from Munich and
Tenerife.
Bye, everyone.